Tonight, reaction to the government's new restrictions at airports to fight the spread of COVID-19 variants.
They should have took the travel bans before everything went so bad.
Why some travelers are still choosing to leave despite the cost. Plus,
it makes you feel a little bit, discouraged, sad, but we're still standing strong.
why security personnel say they should be more of a priority when it comes to vaccine access, and a mystery at Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Officials are looking into how and why a former prime minister's tombstone is significantly damaged.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Good evening. I'm Marivelle Tarouk. Ontario is now reporting 57 confirmed cases of the variant B117 first seen in the UK. Both the federal and provincial government have announced extra restrictions to stop the spread of that variant and keep any others from entering the province. But the exact details are still unknown. Loretta Redicop has more.
Another case of the B117 variant has been identified in Ontario. Local public health officials from Waterloo say it's someone who works in a long-term care home there, and that the person had contact with someone who had traveled to the UK. They plan to increase testing for the variant and expect to identify more cases. The government hopes new travel restrictions will keep more transmissible variants from entering the country. Returning travelers will have to pay $2,000 for 3 nights in a quarantine hotel. This man travels to the U.S. for work.
That's kind of crazy, because what if I live by myself? There's no one in my house to be at risk.
Ramandeep Kaur was headed to India to take care of her mom following a surgery, not thinking about the cost just yet.
So she's on bed rest for almost a month. So I'm there for almost a month. Let's see how that goes. When I come back, I'll think about it.
Ontario is advising against not just international travel, but also between provinces.
Guys, let's all stay at home, stay in your locations, and then we can all have party, and have Manitoba and Quebec and have a real shindig after this is over.
Ontario is also ramping up rapid testing. In long-term care homes, they'll start February 8th in some regions, including Toronto area. Everywhere else a week later, for all essential visitors and staff. People will also be tested at essential workplaces and schools. Local medical officers of health wrote to the province, urging that schools reopen before other sectors. That was backed up by a report from Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital.
In addition to the bundled measures of infection prevention and control, plus the robust testing strategy, it can be done in a safe manner so that schools can open and stay open.
It's not clear when the new quarantine hotels will begin operating. The federal government says it'll have more details in the coming days, with new measures in place in the coming weeks. Loretta Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
The province reported an additional 2,063 cases today, and 73 more people with COVID lost their lives. More than 700 of the new cases come from Toronto, with 379 in Peel and 178 in York Region. Just under 1,300 people are in hospital with the virus, with about 350 in the ICU and 216 on ventilators. As of late Friday, just under 337,000 doses of the vaccine had been administered throughout the province. We hear a lot about healthcare heroes and grocery store clerks as essential workers throughout this pandemic. But one group also on the front lines says they feel forgotten. Talia Ricci spoke with security guards who say they also put themselves at risk every day and should be considered on the vaccine priority list.
Even though they are often at the front entrance of essential places, security guards say they haven't really been acknowledged as essential workers.
We are pretty much dealing with thousands and thousands of people every day. One day we might be working in a hospital. The next day we are working in a grocery store, and the next day we're doing patrols and dealing with different people.
And that's one of the reasons why a union representing thousands of security guards in the province is calling for recognition and vaccine priority.
So with 90,000 licensed guards in Ontario, I think the union thinks some thought should be given to vaccinating those guards because they are the frontline workers. And these guards get fairly low wages, and non-union guards don't even have any access to sick days or benefits, health and welfare benefits.
One infectious diseases specialist and member of Ontario's COVID-19 vaccine distribution task force says that determining where exactly professions like security guards will fall on the list is complex.
Should probably be above, healthy, otherwise, young individuals with no other risk factors. But where in that sort of middle tier do they lie? I mean, that's going to be very challenging to sort out.
Iglesias says another common challenge is people acting aggressive when he enforces the rules. CBC News agreed to not disclose the company he works for to avoid workplace repercussions. Security guards hope their profession sees a little love from the government and also the public.
Just say thank you when they see a security guard at the mall or at a hospital.
It makes you feel a little bit, discouraged, sad, but we're still standing strong. Yeah. The public need us, and we're still here.
CBC News asked the Premier's office for a response to the union's calls for recognition and vaccine priority, but we didn't hear back. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
The investigation into the cause of a devastating fire in the Upper Beaches yesterday continues. 4 people were killed and 2 others sent to hospital.
We anticipate, or the team anticipates, this investigation will take several days. There is no update in regards to cause or origin at this time. The outcome of this will be a determination of the origin of the fire, a determination of the cause of the fire, so specifically what caused the fire, if that can be determined, and finally all the circumstances surrounding the fire.
Chief Coco also says the structural integrity of the building is damaged and the frigid temperatures are posing issues for the investigation. He also says it's unclear whether there were working smoke alarms. Several firefighters were also injured and taken to hospital, but have since been released. The identities of the victims have not been made public, but neighbors told CBC Toronto a woman, her elderly mother, and her young son lived at the home. South Simcoe police are appealing for the drivers of a hit and run in Bradford to come forward.
You got to do the right thing. You got to see a lawyer, and you got to come tell us your side of the story. It's most important. We're going to catch up with you eventually.
You know what you have done. Our mom is not what she used to be, nor will she. So if you can, please.
Police say on Friday, January 22nd, 65-year-old Jesuina Pereira was struck by 2 vehicles as she crossed the road at West Park Avenue on Holland Street West in Bradford. She was first hit by one vehicle and seconds later another as she lay on the road. Both vehicles fled the scene. The incident was captured on security camera. Pereira remains in serious condition. Police are looking for a white SUV and a silver or gray sedan with a black roof. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Toronto reported 34 opioid-related deaths last month, a record number in the city. And in just the last 24 hours, paramedics responded to 40 suspected overdoses, 3 of which proved fatal. That's the highest number of overdose calls Toronto paramedics have ever recorded. Officials say the opioid crisis has grown worse through the pandemic and more needs to be done.
We need the provincial government to provide safe supply as a form of opioid substitution treatment that they're unwilling to do. And we need the federal government to treat this like a health issue, not a criminal justice issue.
More harm reduction services will help, and more access to counseling.
Health officials say a toxic drug supply and an increase in mental health issues through the pandemic are the main causes. They say harm reduction services have also been decreased to maintain physical distancing, but fewer people are attending because of the lockdown. The federal government says it's investing $10 million to support research on mental health and substance use during the pandemic. Toronto Public Health advises anyone using drugs never to do it alone. The Children's Hospital in Ottawa is reporting a disturbing trend. They say they've seen an unprecedented number of infants with maltreatment injuries in recent months.
It really only takes a short moment of frustration for force to be used and injuries to be caused to a young infant. And the parenting at other times can be very, very good, but people don't have the resources, they don't have the help, and they don't have the reserve that they normally would have because of all the added stress of being isolated.
The hospital says the number of children under 1 presenting with fractures and head trauma has more than doubled compared to this time last year. They're reminding parents and caregivers who are feeling stressed or isolated because of the pandemic to seek out help. You're looking live at Collingwood tonight. The latest updates there, 52 new cases of the virus reported today, and an update from the town this weekend. Masks will now need to be worn on and off skating rinks out of an abundance of caution. We're going to check in with Christina now for the forecast. Lots of sun in Toronto today, but it still had to bundle up out there.
Oh my gosh, Maryville, I certainly felt that cold air on my face today.
Yeah, I think we all did.
But we've got a little bit of a warming trend coming up, so I do have good news. You saw those beautiful visuals in Collingwood, -9 degrees overnight. You're not seeing activity in Collingwood overnight, but we're going to see some flurries start to creep up Saturday overnight into your Sunday. This really penetrating just the tip of southwestern Ontario because a Colorado low is on its way. So here are your flurries. You're going to start to see them in the early morning hours for Windsor, Toronto, Ottawa, London. It looks like we're going to be remaining clear. But the main story before I get to those flurries, boy, as we were talking about Maryville, that cold weather, that cold Arctic air, here it is. Now you can see it really, the core is for northeastern Ontario and then pushing into the nation's capital, into Quebec as well, -15 degrees to -30 degrees Celsius. But once again, Greater Toronto area hasn't been that cold. Sunday morning, -8 degrees, feeling like -16. Here is some lake effects now, and I've got your details coming up.
Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, Christina.
Great. Thanks.
The final resting place of Canada's longest-serving Prime Minister has been vandalized. William Lyon Mackenzie King's tombstone at Mount Pleasant Cemetery was defaced. Dahlia Ashry reports on the damage and the questions around who did it and why.
William Lyon Mackenzie King lays to rest here at Mount Pleasant Cemetery, but on the night of January 3rd,
there was some vandalism that had been done to William Lyon Mackenzie King's resting place.
A defaced tombstone and an etched-out face on the Parks Canada plaque belonging to Canada's 10th Prime Minister. Historian Dr. Julie F. Gilmore questions what could have motivated someone to do such a thing.
If his monument was defaced because he was a Liberal or because he was a racist, I don't know.
While there's still no information on who did it, Cowan speculates how the damage was done.
Yeah, on a photoceramic, it's you're scratching the surface, so that's they wouldn't have had to go too deep there. But the damage done on the granite is quite significant, and that would have had to have been hammered out with a hammer and chisel, or something like that.
Gilmore says Mackenzie King did, however, have racist policies.
There's no doubt in my mind that he had racist views towards people of color and Jewish immigrants.
Gilmore speculates this could have been politically motivated as well.
I know there's currently a lot of pushback against Trudeau for various things, so it occurred to me that this could also be part of an anti-liberal thing as well.
Cowan says Parks Canada will be working to restore the tombstone, but adds he's disappointed.
Honestly, any type of vandalism like this seems pointless. I'm not sure what's gained by it, and it's extremely disappointing that that's something that they felt inclined to want to do.
While there's still no information on who vandalized the late Prime Minister's tombstone, Toronto police say they are aware of the incident and are investigating for mischief over $5,000. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
The province's COVID-19 inspection blitz continues and expands to more businesses. More on how it's going after the break. Ontario's provincial offence officers plan to visit more than 400 big box stores this weekend in Toronto, Hamilton, and Waterloo. The blitz is in an effort to make sure businesses are following the right public health guidelines. So far, more than 1,100 businesses have been visited. The province says 112 tickets have been issued to businesses so far this year for not complying with the rules. More than 70 officers are participating this weekend across 3 regions. The primary focus will be on big box stores, followed by convenience stores, discount stores that sell food, and gas stations. The inspection campaign will continue next weekend. More than 600 workers have been permanently laid off from Hudson's Bay as it shutters stores because of the lockdown. A company spokesperson says nearly half of the company's stores remain temporarily closed. The layoff represents less than 5% of the company's total workforce. Last month, Hudson's Bay asked the Ontario Superior Court of Justice to review the provincial government's decision to temporarily close non-essential retailers. The court dismissed the company's bid to change Ontario's retail lockdown rule, but it did question the efficacy of the province's lockdown measures. Demonstrators gathered outside the Indian consulate again today in a show of solidarity with farmers protesting in India against the country's farm laws.
We're also protesting the fact that the Indian government this week has tried to repress the protests. They've shut down electricity, water, internet. They've sent mobs to actually pelt stones at farmers in their protest sites. And so it's a very dire situation.
Members of the Punjabi and Indian diaspora staged the action today and called for the repeal of the current laws. They say affects farmers and workers' livelihoods and benefit large private food buyers at the expense of producers. Toronto is home to a large Punjabi and Indian population. The demonstration featured prayers, poetry readings, and speeches. Ottawa moved again today to reassure Canadians that new export rules in Europe won't delay COVID-19 vaccinations here. It says Canada has renewed assurances from the EU that supply won't be affected and that close collaboration will be maintained. Still, the dispute in Europe and delays already announced are sparking calls for more capacity to produce vaccines here. Aaron Broman reports.
This temporary delay doesn't change the fact that we will still receive 2 million doses of the Moderna vaccine as planned before the end of March, as we've been saying for months.
Optimism from the Prime Minister on vaccine supply, as well as assurance that the EU controls won't impact Canada.
It's obviously very disappointing to hear that in addition to Pfizer, Moderna is experiencing some disruptions, but this is what we're ready for.
This is disappointing for all of us. We are working with what we have available to best address those most at risk.
The European vaccine companies blame delays at production facilities. And though there's a chance shots earmarked for later in the year will come sooner, vaccine firms in the EU will now ask permission before sending doses out, a move criticized by the World Health Organization.
If we lose trust in international collaboration through vaccine nationalism, we will all pay the price in terms of a protracted recovery.
Many say Canada must boost its own vaccine-making capacity.
In the future, Canada has to have a vaccine capability that can be turned on like a switch.
I got to make sure this never happens again. We have the brightest people anywhere in the world. We have the equipment, we have the capabilities.
Canada's target remains to have everyone vaccinated by fall. Health Canada is expected to approve AstraZeneca in the coming days. And a fourth candidate from Novavax has also now applied for review. Aaron Broman, CBC News, Winnipeg.
I think it keeps people from going insane, being locked up inside.
Ottawa's Rideau Canal has its opening weekend. We'll take you there coming up. And a live look at Windsor tonight, where skating would be a bit chilly. Your long-range forecast is coming up after the break.
it's nice to actually be able to get out and do something outdoors.
I'm being taught how to skate, so I'm doing much better today. So it's just a lovely day too. So it's great.
It's my first time here because it's my first time living in Canada, so it's my first experience. I like it.
What a great first experience, and this familiar sight at last. The Rideau Canal opened to skaters Thursday, making this its opening weekend. A 2.4-kilometer stretch of ice is open to skaters from the Pretoria Bridge to the Bank Street Bridge. Because of the pandemic, though, concession stands, skate rentals, and changing facilities will stay closed. There also won't be any picnic tables or fire pits. Skaters are being asked to wear masks and only use the canal if it's close to your home. And for those lucky enough to be there, it sure looks like a lot of fun. What a beautiful day to be out on the rink, especially if you've bundled up, or on the canal too.
Absolutely, Maribel. Keyword, bundle up, stay bundled.
Yes.
But we've got a little bit of a warming trend on the way. So your Sunday, as I mentioned, let's talk about these flurries first, penetrating Windsor, Ontario. It's all about that Colorado low making its way into Canada. Toronto, -6 degrees. You're seeing some flurries there. That is due to that lake enhancement snow we're going to see. So let's get to that culprit. Saturday overnight into your pre-dawn Sunday, heavy snowfall stateside. So it's all pretty much staying south of the border, but the north tip of the Colorado low is just going to be clipping southwestern Ontario, and that's what's going to be bringing us that snowfall. Now take a quick look here rather for your Sunday into your Monday. Once again, heavy snowfall staying in Chicago, Milwaukee, and then for southwestern Ontario, you're seeing here for Windsor, the snow is going to start to creep up, but once again, not really penetrating the greater Toronto area. So this is what your Monday is going to look like. Snowfall is going to continue for Windsor and London, but we're just going to see heavy overcast for Toronto, -4 degrees, see better temperatures. Ottawa, -7 degrees, plenty of sunshine as we head into northwestern, northeastern Ontario. It is going to be warming as well. So let's take a quick look at your 7-day stretch. Toronto, your Sunday, there are your flurries. Monday, here is your overcast at -4 degrees. Warmer. Tuesday, -2 degrees. Wednesday, we are right at the freezing mark. And then Thursday and Friday, we do have another system on the way, but I'm going to give you those details tomorrow. So Windsor, southwestern Ontario, Sunday and Monday, your flurries. Tuesday and Wednesday, mixture of sun and cloud, but you can see that once again, we are going to be experiencing that warming trend. And then Thursday and Friday, another system on the way. But once again, you got to tune in tomorrow for my very last day here at the Weather Network. Going to give you all those details.
And we will see you tomorrow then. Thanks, Christina.
Okay, thanks, Maribel.
And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. We are going to leave you with these beautiful shots from a night skate on the Rideau Canal. Make sure you stay safe if you're going to go and do anything outside these days, and have a great night, everyone. Good night.